Tales from Your Server, Episode 12. Don't ignore your waitress. My good friend told me to post this BC. It's just a great story of karma, revenge. Okay, here's a little background. I worked as a waitress in my local golf club. The place was usually not too busy except around holiday times when the place would get overrun. The restaurant could hold about 400 to 500 and we'd do nights of 800 plus our bar area where people would put those numbers on stands and we'd run the food. But one night of about 600 plus customers, I've been making a bar run with 3 massive breadboards loaded with schnitzels chips and a separate salad covered in dressing. The place is packed and I can barely squeeze through, and this younger looking mother is bent over her child. I stop behind her and say, "Miss," politely twice. She looks back at me and chooses to ignore me. I, "Miss," a bit more urgently as these things are starting to really hurt me. I readjust one in my hand and I see the salad lose balance and topple straight onto this woman's entitled ass. I smile and apologize with the least sincere voice ever. I deliver the meals, get the guy another salad and sweep up the dropped salad. I look over after sweeping and the woman is staring daggers at me as her friend wipes the vinegar-based dressing off her ass. I smile nice and wide, and gave a little wave to show I didn't care. Highlight of my time there.
You only work here 70 hours a week.
You don't know what you're talking about. This is a tale from my pub running days a few years ago. In this pub we served Peroni on draft. Our Peroni glasses were long and thin and, most annoyingly, top-heavy. Now drinks had to be served on trays when doing table service, but I made an exception for these Peroni glasses and said that they could be taken over to tables by hand. One summer's day some local businessmen came in and sat in the garden. One of them ordered 8 Peronis at the bar. I poured them. Then he asked for a tray. I said, "Look, I really wouldn't advise carrying them like that, we don't even do that." He said, "I'll be fine, love." I pushed again and said, "I'll pop them at the end of the bar for you and you can run them from there." I would have given him a hand but we were about 5 deep so couldn't. He got annoyed and said, "Just give me the tray." Okay then, Mr. Big Balls. So I handed over the tray and watched him carry the tray by its sides and precariously leave through the side door.
Seconds later I hear a loud crash and cheers from the garden.
Yep, 8 pints smashed over the paving and grass. Thanks for that annoying clean-up job. He sheepishly walked back in and waited in line again. When it was his turn he was trying to wrangle 8 free pints. All it took was a seriously look from me for him to decide against it and hand over his cash again. When I say don't do something, I'm not saying it to be difficult, I'm saying it because I do this shit day in day out. I know better than you. Lost dog and lost temper.
Mobile post.
Sorry, I grew up a restaurant kid and have worked food service for years. I have so many stories I could post, but one of my favorites is when I was working at a small, upscale, Italian restaurant and bar. It was one of those freak nights where we were insanely busy out of nowhere. There was nothing going on in town out of the ordinary, festival, prom, holiday, Super Bowl etc., just that everyone in town decided they needed to dine with us that night.
So we were understaffed.
Everyone was running themselves to death to keep up.
The bar was hit the hardest and I ended up getting thrown into bar backing as well as waiting on tables in my section. The bartenders were awesome and we were somehow keeping up despite the wall-to-wall crowd. For the most part people were happy and had enough common sense to look around and realize they probably weren't going to get their drinks instantly or get to have one-on-one time with the bartender. Everyone but one guy, that is. This obnoxious 30-something, forever frat boy was sitting at one of our few bar tables with a bunch of his buddies. They were guzzling down beers faster than any of us could make rounds to the table, but instead of letting us bring him pitcher, as we begged him to, or going to the bar to order, like everyone else, he would whistle, snap his fingers in the air and point to his empty glass. Oh, and it wasn't a casual whistle, no, this was the 2 fingers in the mouth ear-splitting hog call whistle. Every few minutes it was ear-piercing whistle, snapping and pointing. Other patrons were visibly annoyed by him. Finally one of the bartenders had enough. She asked me to go get an empty bowl from the kitchen and bring it ASAP.
When I got back, she filled the bowl with water, walked over to this guy's table and slammed it down in front of him. Asshole, what's this for? He was clearly shocked and confused. Bartender, when you finally find that fucking dog you've been whistling for, I figure it might be thirsty. Bar goes silent. Bartender just stares this guy and his table down, then slowly goes back behind the bar. The dude was clearly embarrassed and ashamed. He ordered politely from the bar rest of the night and left a decent tip. Remember folks, bartenders aren't dogs and dogs can't bartend, they can play poker though. Spilled margarita doesn't ruin the night. I had my first spill at a table and over a patron tonight, and honestly, it probably couldn't have gone better. I'm a server at an Italian restaurant in a small town, and in addition to the main dining room downstairs, we have an upstairs lounge with a full-service bar. Patrons can order pretty much anything on the menu and have it sent upstairs, so people very frequently come upstairs to eat dinner, not always just drink. I'm on my shift, everything is going well. I'm the only server upstairs, but the bartender and I are handling the mostly slow dinner crowd.
This five-top walks in and sits down.
I bring them menus and silverware. It's immediately clear that they're kinda awkward. I think it was a business group and most of the people were from out of town, but the vibe was weird. One of those tables where I asked them what they wanted to drink and they all stared at each other for a good long while making awkward eye contact with each other. Finally, someone orders a Leinekugels, and the rest slowly pick out their drinks, a few glasses of wine and 2 margaritas. I bring back the drinks as soon as they're made. I only have 3 other tables at this point, and I start setting out the drinks. I give them the Leinekugels, the 2 glasses of wine, and I set down one of the margaritas. As I go for the second margarita, I bump my serving tray just enough to tip over the glass and spill the contents over the shoulder of one of the women at the table and all down my front leg. Immediately I just feel so panicky, and I start apologizing profusely and telling her I'll grab some towels to dry her off. But she isn't responding.
She just looks frozen.
Mouth agape. I rush off for towels. Everyone in the bar is now staring at me and the table. When I come back, the startled look is still on the woman's face, and she just softly says, I think I just need to go to the bathroom. On her way over, the bartender hooks her up with one of the shirts we sell with our logo on it, makes her another drink. I comp the drink and move the group to another table, but I'm so worried that I've kinda turned the table against me. When the woman comes back from the bathroom, she seems better, but still kinda disoriented. I tell her that the drink is on us, to which she replies, and also on me. Glad she was able to be humorous, but damn, I didn't know what to say in the moment. Anyway, I get food orders, bring out food, everything is going well. Vibes at the table are awkward pretty much every time I come around. And a few more times, I drop something at the table. I bring some pizza plates, and I drop one of them off the stack and it clatters quite loudly on the table. And then just to top it off, as I'm taking away the margarita woman's plate, I spill the leftovers of her food right behind her on the floor.
She freezes again.
And when she realizes nothing was spilled on her, she nervously laughs it off. My cheeks were probably beet red, and I mumbled something about this not being my night for not dropping things. Thankfully I don't have to split the check, one guy takes it. I thank the group for coming, and we tell the margarita woman she can keep the shirt. They leave. I check the bill, and the guy tipped me around 40%. Maybe he felt bad for me, or maybe he didn't like the woman I spilled margarita on, but either way, he was a total champ and made my night.
Some patrons just have that really sweet kindness,
and those are the patrons that make me love serving all that much more. My weirdest dine and dash. Okay, so this happened a few months ago, but it still baffles me. I worked at an Irish pub restaurant and bar as a server that served food until 1 a.m. It gets pretty rowdy, but tonight was relaxed. A thin, probably mid-30s woman wearing a nice, casual outfit walks in with a cane and limps over to a booth.
She tells me she's meeting a couple friends and
wants to order while she waits.
She orders our large poke with extra poke,
our large nachos with extra cheese, our bacon burger, artichoke dip with extra chips, and 2 large beers. Her friends never show up and she eats all of it herself, and complained about a few items even that I had to remake. I'm kind of weirded out, so I tell security to watch her, though I'm not super worried because she has obvious trouble walking.
She asks for the bill,
which is $120.
She thanks me and opens her purse and she says she'll be ready in a moment.
I turn around to go check on another table. When I come back, she's vanished, no money in the checkbook, her cane is under the table, along with empty food cartons from Ralph's Deli.
She literally sprinted out of there and no one noticed.
Thankfully, my manager didn't make me pay for it because I had alerted him beforehand that she was giving me weird vibes. But seriously, what the hell? Coworkers saved my night tonight. Tonight I had a 4-table section, normal for our restaurant. During our rush, they took all of my tables and put them together for a party of 11. Sure, no problem, let's get them sat and get them out of here. Turns out it was a group of teenagers, no problem serving them. I don't normally dread them like my coworkers, but tonight I really needed to make some money and I knew they weren't gonna be the money table for me. Turns out only half of their party was there, so they sat in my section, all 4 tables pushed together, for an hour waiting for their party. I stood around and helped run food because there wasn't anything else I could do. Fast forward to them paying 13 separate checks, more people kept showing up, a $300 bill between all of them, they left me a total of $13. My coworkers instantly knew they weren't gonna tip, and that doesn't even make me too mad, but you took up my whole section the entire night, which means I had no chance to make any other money after you screwed me. The shift leader of the night went around and did a collection for me from the other servers without me realizing. She came over and handed me $40 and said it was from all of them. I've only been working at this place for 3 months and don't have any super close relationships with anyone yet, just pretty casual. I went out back and cried for a while before I went back inside because I truly couldn't believe they would do something like that for me. They came over and let me know that we're family here and we take care of each other. Damn, I'm still in disbelief. I just moved to this city by myself and have been having a bad few weeks, and these people doing that for me was something I'll never forget. I still made shit money after having to tip out based on my sales, but my coworkers doing that for me really saved the overall night I had mentally. What do you mean my nails grow?
So this is my first post, please be gentle.
I don't quite know if this post belongs here, so if it doesn't, please let me know. This is my first time using Reddit after a lot of people tell me my story should go here. Obligatory. I'm on my phone. English is my first language. I am just extremely dumb. Meet the cast. Me SC. Stupid client T teacher. I was still a student at the time at my school clinic where we did cheap aesthetic services to get practice, so I'm an esthetician. A big fancy word that means your nail lady, makeup lady, eyelash lady as one person.
So the biggest part of my job is mani-pedis, especially gel mani-pedis. So at the beginning of the clinic season, a lady SC came in and wanted a gel mani. No problem, gave it to her just fine. She didn't seem entitled or that dumb.
While getting the first manicure, she asked how long this manicure was going to last and stuff like that, the normal stuff. 2 weeks later, SC comes in freaking out, saying I did a horrible job, that she's never wants me to touch her nails again, and she wants my manager. This was a classroom. I didn't have a manager, we had a teacher.
So I call T over and this is how the conversation went to the best of my memory.
T, what seems to be the problem? SC, your nail girl, pointing at me, F asterisk 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 up my manicure. Me, I'm really sorry, I'll be happy to fix it if you tell me the problem. T, let me see your nail, then we can decide on the best way to fix it. SC then shows us her hands for us to see my mistake. Me and my teacher both went over a hand each, trying to see where I messed up, checking every finger. Everything seems to be okay minus the 2 weeks of nail growth that was at the root of her nail that no longer had polish, simply because that nail did not exist when the manicure first happened. T. What seems to be the problem? It looks like you're due for another manicure, but that's it. If that's the case, we'll be more than happy to book you another appointment. SC. How could you miss it? She didn't paint my whole nail, or somehow the polish shrunk on my finger and now there's a bit on the end of each finger where there's no nail polish. I am very disappointed. My teacher and I just kind of stared at each other for a couple seconds in complete shock, wondering how a person didn't know that her nails grow. T. I am sorry that you're disappointed, but all that is regrowth. That's new nail, so it never got painted in the first place. I'm sorry that you're unsatisfied with how long it lasted, but the only thing we can do is suggest you get another manicure. At this point, the teacher walks over to the reception desk and I walk away, trying so hard not to burst out laughing because I cannot believe there's some people don't know that their nails actually grow. And when their nails grow, the polish doesn't grow with them. What do customers expect when they go out to eat at lunchtime? Obligatory, not a server, and this is more of a rant. I'm a rebel, I'm sorry. I'm currently eating my lunch at a casual counter service restaurant, which is usually pretty quick and has enough seating that I don't feel cramped. It's a great way to spend my lunch hour, which I usually take a little later in the afternoon to avoid the crowd, and also because then the second half of my day is shorter. But today, I'm hungry, so I went just after noon.
Surprise. So did everyone else.
And the looks of frustration and indignation on all of the customers' faces is so annoying. Every single one of them is chattering about how they need to get back to work. Are they short-staffed today? What's going wrong? There's literally a line out the door. They stood in it waiting to order. They waited 10 minutes to order. They've watched people continue to order. And yet they're honestly shocked the food production is also lagging as a result. I just don't understand.
If you knew you were on a time crunch,
why stay? Go find a convenience store and get yourself a power bar and some jerky. Find a drive-thru. Go to the Amato's right next door. Also, one guy got sent to order food for his coworkers, and the kitchen doesn't prepare one of the requested dishes anymore. He acted like it was the fault of the person taking his order and made a big deal about having to call to get a new order, even though the employee tried to recommend a fairly similar dish that probably would have worked just fine.
Mulch Burger Dine and Dash.
Former server, now manager. I work at a retro-style casual chain that is pretty cheap.
This happened a few nights ago.
I'm working on the grill and one of my servers comes up to me and says there was mulch in a customer's burger. I'm like, no way.
So I go to the table to talk to them.
It's a mother and her 4 teenage sons. She hands me the plate with the burger and sure enough, there's a piece of mulch. I'm flabbergasted by this. There is no logical way a piece of mulch could end up on a burger. I apologize profusely and go make her a new, mulch-free burger and take it off her bill, along with another item.
She was cool about it.
Checked in on them about 10 minutes later, all was well. Until, I'm on grill and I hear one of my servers saying she had dined and dashed. Our grill is right by the front registers and front door. I look out to see her and her kids flipping us off while running out the door. I was already in a pretty bad mood that day and her bill was pretty large, so I called the cops. They found her, and she came back, starting yelling that she had thrown her money over the counter and that the server probably pocketed it. I informed her that I was right there and that there was no money and that she needed to pay her bill. So she did, while cussing up a storm and threatening that she was going to show up next time with her friends and apparently make me regret calling the cops on her. Whatever. I told her she was not welcome in this establishment and that the cops would be called if she came again. She left, while flipping the whole restaurant off again.
Okay.
Point made. I figured that was the end of it until I came in yesterday and my server told me that she had been in earlier and gotten a carry-out order. And proceeded to steal 3 sets of salt and pepper shakers while she was at it. Very classy. When a bunch of Karens act like nothing is wrong but then complain to management. Day 7/7 of scheduled shifts and I was the opener today, covering for someone who is on vacation. It was a rough weekend, 4th of July in a heavily tourist-filled city area. Needless to say, I wasn't on my top game today. Just tired.
So,
During the lunch rush, I get sat a party of 5 ladies in the rotate section. Older ladies, just having lunch, I guessed.
didn't seem to be anything special.
The host told me that one lady wanted to pay for everything, and handed me her credit card. I went up to them. Don't remember if I was particularly warm or friendly, but even on my off days I'm usually a polite, attentive server. The ladies didn't seem very warm or friendly, quiet. They ordered drinks, apps and entrees all very quickly.
This particular lunch rush kind of screwed me.
The seating wasn't even, so I ended up having 9 tables when the other server had 4. I didn't really get a chance to be too attentive with this party, but everything went smoothly. They got their drinks, their apps, their entrees. I refilled their waters and teas promptly. One lady told me that they were going to want a picture, and I told them I'd take a picture of them in a minute, but then they got their food and I figured I would take a picture at the end of the meal, maybe when they got dessert. I was going to mention this idea to them, but then got super busy and the communication slipped my mind. They never reminded me to take a picture of them again. As I'm boxing up their food, I see one of the ladies standing at the host stand, waiting for a manager. I asked her if everything was okay, and she said yes, that it had nothing to do with me but she needed to see a manager. Well, she lied.
She told my manager that I was rude,
hostile, and that service was terrible.
She even had the nerve to tell my manager
that she was in remission for cancer and they were out celebrating and I had ruined their celebration lunch. Also, I ignored her when I said she wanted a picture. It was never communicated to me that they were celebrating anything. Never communicated to me that it was a special lunch. I of course would have tried to make it a point to make it more special, but they didn't even pull the gifts out that were under the table until after they complained. I was honestly dumbfounded, and really upset. I had my manager finish out the table, finished up the rest of my tables, and went into the back and shed a couple of tears. I'm not a mind reader, Karen. The good news, the lady who complained didn't pay, so I still got $40 from them.
You win some,
you lose some.
If there's time
to lean, there's time to kick you in the fucking teeth if you finish that sentence. XOXO. It's not going to matter. An amp, #X200B. It's my newest table, 3 women and a man. I greet them in under 1 minute. Now it's my second day back from a 6-month hiatus and I'm fumbling over my greet, trying to remember what to say. After I do my whole greet and special talk, I tell them I'll give them a minute to decide on drinks and all BRB. I walk away. I am about 2.5 steps away and I realize I've forgotten to give them my name.
So I circle back real fast.
I am so sorry, I forgot to mention my name is ___________________ and I will be taking care of you this evening. One of the women just looks at me and says, yeah, that's not going to matter. I am sorry. Her, yeah, why do you think we need to know your name? Lunch, a small rant. I have a thick skin when it comes to customers being rude, obnoxious or downright entitled. My restaurant is in an above-average income area with an older clientele, so we get lots of the latter. I sometimes notice when someone is rude but forget when I walk away. I'm normally too busy to get annoyed. However, a few days ago an older couple came through our front door to be met by one of my lovely colleagues. I was hovering nearby so got to witness the exchange. No response to her greetings, just the one word came out of his mouth, lunch. They then sauntered off towards one of our better tables. I don't think they asked if it was reserved. Not particularly a joyous couple. I don't think I saw them smile the entire time they were with us that day. Like I mentioned before, if I've slept since it happened, chances are I don't remember it. This will however stay with me for a while. I don't get mad at the memory, I'm just flummoxed at what has to happen to someone for them to become such of a twatbag and treat people without the politeness they deserve. After working in catering for a while now, I can't ever see myself not giving a hello and thank you as an absolute bare minimum when being served by someone, whether it's a waitress, the postie, secretaries or anyone else behind a counter. It's very easy to be polite and you never know what you can get in return for showing someone some respect. In my restaurant at least we will go above and beyond for good customers. People like the couple in my story get the bare minimum required to get them out the door. Karma in practice is suppose. Thanks for reading. Is this legal? Little bit of background. I work, at a restaurant that is literally the dirtiest one I've ever worked at. Mold grows in the syrup bottles and they tell us, just wipe it out with a towel. It's too wasteful to dump out all that syrup and refill it. It grows in there because they never wash the bottles. They just have us take the lid off and soak the syrup off of them with hot water and replace them back in the full, unsanitized bottles. Stuff like that. The boss is a weird dude. Excuse my nerd reference, but he talks like he's trying to pass a bluff check but didn't roll high enough to actually pass. Anyway, onto my question. A friend of mine, a coworker, walked out on a shift because he was treated especially unfairly here. The boss withheld my friend's check until he agreed to come in to get lectured on why what he did was wrong. Otherwise, no check. I'm pretty sure that's not legal. I don't work Monday or Tuesday. On Sunday I had a brain fart and thought it was Monday, so I accidentally no-showed. They called me the next day asking if I could come in, but I was unhappy there, so I had an interview scheduled that day. I told them sorry, but I couldn't. I was supposed to go back on Wednesday at 9 a.m. I thought. Apparently I read the wrong line and I was scheduled at 7, so again, a no-call no-show was counted. They told me not to come in. I decided, fuck it, I hate this job anyway, and didn't go back today either. But here I am now worrying I'm not going to get my money cause I'm not willing to go back to get lectured on my fuck up that I already feel embarrassed about. Can he legally do this? I need my check and I'm expecting he'll mail it eventually, but what if he doesn't? Can I report him somehow and force him to mail my check? It's a family-owned business, so there's no HR or corporate. The time calling someone poor went positively. Tonight I had a table of 4. They were pretty eccentric bunch, laughing and making very niche jokes that I'm sure were just inside jokes. They liked to have fun, I gathered. We were hitting it off and it was a breeze to serve them. I made plenty of jokes throughout, some I even explained, in a comedic way, albeit, if not to kind of call these people dumb. There was 2 on one side, and 2 on the other, 2 separate bills. An amp, #X200B. Nearing the end I brought a box to pack up their nachos. I did it for them because everyone struggles. I don't do it for obnoxiously rude tables. The one group, that wasn't paying for the nachos, said they'd give it to the poor. Not in a degrading way, either. I kind of laughed and packed it up. I went and grabbed their bills, and the nacho group said quite loudly, "You're only tipping him $2. I just got back and I looked at him, the not nacho group, and said, what?
This comedy is not free.
They thought it was funny. Writing this makes me realize how obnoxious I am. Life epitome. Thanks Reddit. I picked up their nachos and said, "Hey, did you want these?" He looked at me kind of puzzled, but almost with a smirk on his face, wasn't sure where I had picked those 2 topics up from in the middle of 2 different tonal extremes.
Oh,
well, you said you were going to give it to the poor people, and amp, #X200B. The other group laughed quite hard, hit him in the shoulder, and said he had to tip at least $5 for that. I laughed and said that it was funny because this is how I get my complaints. He handed me a 5, and I spruced up the gay in me and said, "Thank you, very valley girl." An amp, #X200B. The other guy from the non-nacho group laughed quite hard and said, "I loved how you delivered that, thank you." Not exact words because it's hard to convey the tone he used, an amp, #X200B. Anyways, that was the only good table. I also got called out for there being one of the cook's hair in their food. I shaved my head recently, and it was 4 inches long. The only cook at the time is bald. We're going to forget about that one.